Okay, I got into computers, so to say, probably around 1999, 2000, when the internet was just starting to become a little bit more widespread, a little bit more popular. You started hearing words like wireless and firewalls and DSL and high-speed internet just starting to take a foothold. And at that point, I realized that, for me anyway, that there were two avenues I could take to future-proof my career. And one would be security, because everything's always going to need to be secure, and the other would have been wireless, because I felt at the time, and I still feel that way, that wireless is going to be the ultimate future of connections. I decided to take the security route, and so from that point, everything career-wise was geared more towards moving closer and closer to a security professional in the space. I'm probably not a typical person that would take this particular exam. The reason that I wanted to go through the program is my job and kind of my specialty in cybersecurity is more on the defensive side of things. I work as a network administrator. I work as a information security manager. So I'm constantly on the defense. I'm not on the offense. However, in looking at the certification and looking at its requirements, I wanted to know, in order to defend, I need to know what people are going to come at me with. And so I felt like I wanted to take the test so I can get an idea of the tools, of the mindset, and of the ideology, maybe, of kind of the people that are going to could potentially attack whatever network or whatever, data store that I was trying to defend. And so that was what led me to go down the path of going through the coursework and ultimately taking the certification. It benefited me because it gave me an idea of the tools to use when, if I want to do a simulated attack on my own network, or if I see certain odd bits of traffic coming through my network that I don't necessarily understand. Sometimes, like even now, I recognize, oh, that's an Nmap scan. I've seen that before, and I wouldn't have known that without going through the CEH materials. It's helped me to just kind of understand more of what, like before taking the exam, I thought that most hackers were highly skilled individuals. Not saying that there aren't any, because there definitely are, but there's also a lot of people out there that use the tools that really don't have any idea of what they're doing. The tools are basically available to anyone, so anyone honestly can Google the tools and do low-level attacks on anyone's network. And that was quite the surprise to me. And knowing that allowed me to better protect my network by setting up a little bit more layered security, and knowing how to keep the less qualified people out was a whole lot easier. In the industry, it's become a little bit more prevalent because I work in the construction industry, and there's been a couple of very high-profile attacks in the industry, which really brought to light the reason to take this stuff a little bit more seriously. Generally, construction has been considered lagging behind in technology, because a lot of what can be done on pen and paper, at least traditionally. Now that more technology is coming into the space, the technology has outpaced the security. And so a lot of these people are finding that even though they want to implement the latest and greatest, they're not securing it. And oftentimes these people are finding out too late. And it's a very large monetary cost to be able to implement security after, you've had an incident. So with these high-profile attacks, and with that being said, people are now beginning to realize, okay, we need to get security in front of the technology adoption. My organization is the exact same way. They saw the result of these attacks. For some very large companies in the space, and they didn't want to be a victim or a statistic, just like these companies were. So we've taken that stance of security in front of the technology. If there's a technology you want to implement, how do we secure that? How do we make sure that that is going to work for us in a secure manner so it doesn't become, a point of failure into where that gives someone an inroads into the organization? No, because that honestly isn't the reason I went to take the exam. I wasn't looking for pay. I wasn't looking for a better job. I was basically looking to get the skill set, or to actually have an idea of what the skill set was. It was, although my organization supported me and they were totally on board with me doing it, I wasn't looking to get any kind of a perk out of it. I was just wanting that knowledge for myself because I felt it would help me be a better defender of the network that I was in charge of. Because of going through the coursework, it gave me a better idea of how attacks occur. I already had a general idea of where they came from and a general idea of kind of why they happened. Usually they're monetary based or they're ideological based, but a little bit more into granular ideas as to how they happen, how they start, like some of the triggers that start them. Like even though I understood about reconnaissance, I didn't really understand what that meant or how that worked at a network security level. And so I've changed my outlook as far as looking at instead of having edge only security measures, I have internal security measures. I have multiple firewalls. I have multiple units that do internal scans as well as at the network edge, just in case someone was able to get in and they're sitting there and they're doing reconnaissance. And that is a concept I really didn't have a grasp on before going through the coursework. About the only way I can think of, to be honest, would be in that I've been able to share some of my knowledge with other people, people that are up and coming. A lot of network security professionals are at the very start of their career, and people that are wanting to do kind of the type of work that I do necessarily don't understand why they would need that skill set, and so I can point them in that direction. And some of them, I mean, granted, most of them, it may be a year or two or maybe even 5 before they get to a point where they're ready to take the CEH test. But they can at least be introduced to the tools and they can understand the processes of how this works and get a little bit more familiar with, the protecting a network start to finish or compromising a network start to finish. In doing that, that makes them better professionals and better people to work with me. And it helps them in their career. So I've gotten feedback from a few people that after I turned them onto it, they really didn't understand why they would need this. But after going in there and using the tools and looking at the coursework, they have a lot better appreciation as to why that this stuff is important and why it makes sense to keep up to speed with it and keep after it. And hopefully they can train other people. But as far as giving back, that could probably be the only aspect I could think of that would make sense. My favorite part, and I keep going back to this, is the tool set. I didn't realize that most, if not all, of the tools that are used in network penetration are open source. Anybody can go get them. Anybody can go take a look at them. Anybody can run them. Anybody can try it out. I really liked going through the lab scenarios and then taking those lab scenarios and making my own and kind of playing, a game with myself to see, okay, well, I'm going to see if I set it up in this way, can I break through it? Or if I try this angle, is this going to make a difference? I really liked exploring the tools and testing networks and testing security measures just to kind of see what would happen. That was probably the most fun about it for me. Well, without EC Council, I wouldn't have been able to take the test, right? They support the test. If I was to give out a message and how, like, for improvement or how they could do better, is to increase your user base. As far as right now, CEH is more geared towards people that want to get into penetration testing, into maybe white hat hacking, things of that nature. But I think there would be a large percentage of people that do the kind of work that I do as defense on the blue side of the table, that would really benefit from knowing about this certification, not just knowing about the certification, but knowing the steps and the process of going through to get certified, because you get access to all this stuff, and you don't know what you don't know. So if you're trying to defend a network and you don't know what tools are coming at you, you're at a real disadvantage. So if it could be marketed to people in my position that, hey, this might be something that, network professionals may want to take a look at, or cybersecurity professionals on the defense side may want to take a look at, because it's going to help you defend your network a little bit better, actually quite a bit better. I think that would help out considerably, not only for EC Council, but for the people that would also be jumping into that certification.